They're singing to the maker of peace in Hebrew.
Beautiful language. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to NVC and Judaism, Torah, and at the intersection. Although Roberta Wall is a current trainer with NVC Academy, I believe it's only my second time working with you, Roberta, and it's a delight to introduce you to her today. Roberta received her JD from the New York University School of Law, lay Buddhist ordination from Zen Buddhist master Thich Nhat Hanh, and certification to train in nonviolent communication from the Center for Nonviolent Communication. She is a member and active participant in several Jewish congregations and learning circles, and is the author of the forthcoming Torah at the Intersection. Roberta previously was a civil rights lawyer in NYC and leads training and retreats in compassionate, nonviolent communication and mindfulness in 5 continents. These days on Zoom, like today, she facilitates conversations and dialogue across many divides and has been the recipient of numerous peace fellowships. And if you want to know more, I'm also going to share with you on the chat her latest blogs and her website if you want to check that out. Roberta, thanks so much for being here today, and you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jessica, and welcome everyone. It's really, my heart feels warm and also a little nervous seeing such wonderful friends and colleagues and teachers and the new people who I don't really know. Maybe I recognize your name because we've been students in classes together. So just thank you all for being here and for wanting to be on this journey. As you probably, hopefully have seen from the email that went out, we have 3 segments. It's a little bit of a packed agenda. And I just thought there's so much, it's so rich what we're stepping into, and we all will have access to the recording. So if it seems like we're going a little fast, just really know to bookmark for yourself, oh, I want to go back to that on the recording. And we also have several guest presenters who are dear friends and teachers of mine also. So we're going to have lots to chew on. the general theme which emerged about how to shine the light of Judaism and Jewish teachings on nonviolent communication and the light of nonviolent communication on the Jewish teachings. As I was preparing, what was emerging is revealing yourself. And in fact, the last song we were listening to, there was a line, Higale nai, reveal yourself. And so that's the general theme that emerged. It wasn't in my head. So the first segment will be revealing myself to myself, really showing how Torah calls on us to do this, and also how the NVC practice, both Torah and the NVC practice, I think, begin with learn yourself, see yourself, know yourself. And when we can do that, in fact, Jessica, could you post that screen share the 3 circles? Thank you. This is kind of my working map of nonviolent communication these days. And it's in the handouts. You can print it out and use it as a shviti, a meditation, or use it for whatever you want to use it. But to know myself will give me clarity. What is important to me? To know myself will give me connection, so I can connect to what's important to me. To know you will give me clarity, or begin to give me clarity. Who are you? What is important to you? And help me have connection, and then a compassionate connection to who you are. And then those 3 together will bring me to a place of new action, of empowerment. So for me, these are actually the 3 kind of reasons why I'm practicing NVC, to bring me clarity, connection, and a compassionate connection, and empowerment, so I can act in the world. And we like to begin our nonviolent communication times together with a poem or a story that kind of brings us into that remembering of what this is about. So I'm just going to read the first part of a poem by William Stafford, which I did not send to you, Jessica, so you can't screen share it. I'll post it. If you don't know the kind of person I am, and I don't know the kind of person you are, a pattern that others made may prevail in the world. And following the wrong God home, we may miss our star. That poem blows me away, because that's where we are in the world right now. You don't know me and I don't know you. So we fall into the pattern that others have created. And patterns that have been created out of pain and trauma and suffering. So we end up following the wrong God's home. And when I was preparing this course, I noticed first I was kind of just using nonviolent communication to bring Torah into an aliveness. And I realized, oh, that's one way. That's, I really want this to go both ways. What is it in Torah that can deepen my path of nonviolent communication? And what is it in nonviolent communication that can deepen my path of Torah? So that is really my aspiration for our session together, that both inform the other. So I want to start segment 1 with a practice of how do we use nonviolent communication to create clarity, compassionate connection, and empowerment with ourselves. For me, this is the starting point of nonviolent communication. We call it sometimes the practice of self-empathy or self-compassion. And the Torah that directly speaks to this is from the very first book of the Torah, the book of Genesis or Bereshit, beginning. And some of you may know this, many of you may know this, maybe all of you know this, that very close to the beginning, the humans, Adam and Adam and Eve, Adam and Chava realize they're naked and they hide. And this is again our theme for today. Where do we hide? Why do we hide? And how can we make sure that if we're choosing to hide, it's in service of the needs of the life energy that we want to meet? It's not good or bad. NVC offers us a beautiful way of evaluating our choices rather than judging and labeling good, bad, right, wrong, so that we suppress parts of ourselves. NVC says, let's get clarity. What are the needs you want to meet? What's important to you? What are your values? And then choose your action, which could be hiding, because that action that you choose is in service of your needs. That's I think the general playground of nonviolent communication. Right. And of course, Torah, it's so deep because it's the first hiding we see is hiding from God. You can't hide from God. So we know that that is not the right strategy. Wow, it's very powerful. So what about when we hide from ourselves? And again, of course, we know hiding from ourselves is a way of protecting ourselves. It's an attempt to protect ourselves from trauma. So please, in this whole 3 hours, and in any time you try practicing nonviolent communication, leave the notion of judging behind, of good, bad, right, wrong. Just stay connected to, is it meeting the needs I want to meet? That's the question. So I want clarity. What needs do I want to meet? I want to connect with those needs and embrace them, and then have an empowered action from there. So let's just do a quick guided meditation from Ayeka. Ayeka is the Hebrew word, that question that God asks, where are you? So let's do an inner journey using nonviolent communication. So right now, just if you're comfortable, close your eyes. If you're not comfortable, don't close your eyes. Just go inside and ask yourself, where am I right now? Where am I? And it's really useful to start with, what are the sensations in my body? We are embodied beings. What am I feeling in my body? No labeling, no judging, just make space to feel. Just what are you noticing? Heartbeat, tension, fatigue. And then start to notice, what are the emotions that go along with the feelings in the body? What are the emotions? And Jessica, can you post the feelings? Just some ideas about when I say what are the emotions. And again, all of this is in the chat. Don't worry. You don't even have to take notes. What are some of the emotions that are coming through in this embodied being? In this Adam. Adam means earthling. We are earthlings. We feel, we respond. We are part of everything. Ah, beautiful. And here's just some feelings. And thank you. Yes, post whatever feeling comes up in the chat. Let's use this wonderful technology. So these are feelings, emotions that come up when our needs are satisfied. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down a little bit. What are the feelings, the emotions in the body when, whoa, my needs for safety or connection aren't being met? So just taking in, it's hard to not be distracted in Zoom. So let's just try to keep this as a meditation in the sense of you're staying in your body rather than being distracted. And Jessica's going to scroll up to the next page of the needs. Yeah, thank you. The feelings. So right now, where am I? Where am I? I'm feeling a lot of energy in my belly. Feeling excited and wow, maybe I'm feeling a little nervous. Maybe I'm feeling sensitive. That's good. That's good. Who isn't feeling sensitive in this time of COVID? Who isn't feeling fragile, guarded? Yeah, this is where I am. Oh, and how does it feel to just make space for whatever is happening in your body and in your emotional life? So I don't have to hide from myself. I make myself my ally in bringing me into presence. This question, Ayeka, where are you? It's presence asking us, calling us to presence. So now we're calling ourselves to presence, to be present. To be present with anything that comes up, agitation, guardedness. Yeah. What does that feel like in the body? Make space. These are the energies of life calling to us, calling to be known. Presence calling us into presence. And now we're going to switch to the needs inventory. Thanks, Jess. Because a key principle of nonviolent communication is that our feelings arise in relation to what's important to us. So when we do this self-empathy, self-connection practice, we ask ourselves, what's important to us? What are we feeling? We start with, what are we feeling in our bodies? What are our emotions? And then, what needs are up? Either we're longing for them to be met or they're being met. So just staying with your breath and staying with your body, maybe putting your hands on the parts of your body that are feeling something right now so you can stay connected. Beating heart, turmoil in your belly, calmness, joy, whatever it is, see if you can connect with whatever needs are causing you to feel this way. Ayeka, where are you? Where are you? And now we're going to go into small breakout groups of 3 people each. And you're just going to share, we're just going to have 4 minutes each, so 12 minutes. It's not a lot of time to share. This is what I'm feeling in my body. These are the emotions. And these are the needs. And see if you can just finish with the needs that are either up for you because they're met and you're in them, or you're yearning for them. And then just make space for your needs. Okay, so we're going to just go into the small groups, and there's no right or wrong. You, of course, want to say quickly who you are, introduce yourself, but really we just have 4 minutes for each one of us to go through this process. And if you don't want to be in a group, just don't join the breakout session when you get the invitation. Okay? So we want to be in choice for how we go through this entire session together. So if there's only 2 people in your session, just know someone is choosing to meet needs by not being in a session. Does anyone have a question about what we're going to be doing in the small breakout? When we come back from the breakout, we'll have a bigger discussion about whatever questions. But right now, if you hover over the participant prompt on the bottom and you hit raise your hand, I think that's where hand raising is.
Yes, absolutely, Roberta. When you click on the participant, the 2 little people, I think it looks like, you'll have a list of names appearing, and at the end of that list, you'll see the button raise hand. It's a blue little hand, and if you click on it, your name will pop at the top of our list, and I'll be able to see if you want to share.
So thank you. So just if you have a question about what we're going to do in the breakout session, and Jess will put a prompt in your breakout session that says the 4 minutes have passed, so you'll know to switch to the next person. Okay, so I think we're just all getting so familiar with Zoom these days that in the beginning when I was teaching on Zoom, like there'd be like 20 questions about everything, so which is great. I welcome questions. So all right, so I don't see any hands raised, so see you all. Jessica is going to put me in one room, very important, and the room that I am in will be recorded because there are many people who've signed up for the course who are just going to watch the recording. Can 2 people just wave if you're willing to be in a room with me and that room is recorded?
And Roberta,
yeah.
Oh, awesome! I see some people raising their hands. I'm taking notes. But
Sorry,
in the
I'm just,
meantime, I already asked
oh,
2 people, and we already have 2 people who said yes, so we're
okay.
good.
Sorry. All right. So for the next breakout, Hanan, Alice, Mark, maybe other, there'll be 3 breakouts with me and they'll all be recorded. So next one. Okay.
All right. And I
Thank
love this clarity, Roberta. So we're not going to have all the same people for the 3 breakouts. It's going to be
Right.
different people.
Right.
Okay, perfect. And 12-minute total, right?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. I'm opening the room. So you will see appearing in front of you screen an invitation to join your breakout. So please click on that and you will be put directly in your breakout. Over there, you won't be able to see what's happening in the main room. And don't forget to unmute yourself, because as you're going to move there, you're going to be muted. So keep in mind to unmute yourself. And I will send, like Roberta said, some reminders of when to switch. All right, opening the rooms now. And you can click join.
Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Roberta.
Hello,
Hi there.
Yvette and Mark. Wonderful to be with you. So I'm Roberta. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. Do you want to just introduce yourselves to each other?
Yes, I'm Yvette, and I am from the land of the Algonquin and Lenape, otherwise known as Rockland County, New York, on the Hudson. Thank you.
And my name is Mark, and I'm outside of Hartford, Connecticut.
Wow, wow. So thank you. So would it work if I went first and did a quick rundown? It just actually I usually like to do that in the whole group, and I didn't. And then that'll just give you an idea of how I'm thinking of this, and that's not at all to control how you might think of this, because it's really about meeting our needs for connecting with ourselves. Okay, so where am I? So I'm noticing a smile coming to my face, and wow, that's connected with real feelings of joy and excitement. And just connecting with the smile and noticing, still kind of excited. There's still a little bit of, my heart's not beating so fast the way it was at the beginning, which I was associating with like nervousness. Now it's kind of, I feel like energy in my body. So I feel excited and I feel happy. Yeah. And the needs that I'm connecting with are some kind of joy to be here together. I think kind of wonder. I don't know if that's actually a need, although in the Torah it's certainly a need of God's, be in awe and wonder of me. So maybe it is a need, but just yeah, I guess I feel amazed on a certain level of how much meaning and connection is happening in my life through Zoom, through community, through Jewish community, through nonviolent communication community. So yeah, I guess it's just community. Yeah, just really taking in how being in community brings me such aliveness. Ah, okay. Thank you. Wow, that really felt good. Who wants to go next?
Would you like to go next?
Sure. Thank you for the invitation. Okay, so I'm putting hands in my throat and feeling this connection to speaking truth, and I'm aware my heart is beating fast, and I'm feeling expectant and open-hearted. And my need is to understand and be understood in the times that we are living, and wanting to connect with different streams. It's the way that I I see myself as bridging things, and so this need to connect different languages. And I always wanted to know about nonviolent communication, and also wanting to know about Torah, which I don't know a lot, and the other practices I practice of mindfulness. So I'm aware I'm speaking, so wanting to be understood. I also am aware I'm happy. I'm happy to be here with both of you in this experiment, and also grateful for so much that's happening in Zoom. This remembering that was spoken, putting members together, feeling a need to feel, to remember our humanness, my humanness, and honoring each other, and honoring and honoring people who have not been honored, and consciously wanting to be an ally. And in my own life, practicing that, and aware I have many unskilled things that I wish to shine light with more clarity. Thank you. That's it.
Mark.
I'm really feeling at peace. And I really just enjoyed that in the last moment and even now I'm taking time to breathe and to slow down and just to be with myself. I am aware of my breathing. I can feel my body resting on this chair. There's a sense of stillness. Until I gave it some attention, I wasn't necessarily aware of my surroundings, so I was feeling kind of complete within myself. And I'm aware of there's a wholeness to that experience of myself. I'm aware that periodically there is small sighs of gratitude for the stillness. And there's a sense of joy. It's not joy. It's kind of a subtle joy. I spent the last 3 days at an LGBT Alcoholics Anonymous convention. And it's an event that I've gone to many times before. And it's an event that really brings me home, really feels home. And it was so wonderful getting away from so much of the chatter in today's world that I experience as disturbing or uncomfortable or just draining. And I came away wanting to make a commitment to being judicial about what I let into my life moving forward. And that's kind of where the calmness is coming from. Needs met are I feel resourced. Need for self-care. And not just a need for self-care, but a need for to stand for myself, for self-care moving forward. So it's kind of like the need met. It was a need met for being willing to honor what's really important and precious for me today. And I'll just conclude by saying, it was, I made an agreement with myself that that it's okay to be with Mark and to be self-connected and not to rush into anything else. And that I refuse to rush into anything else that might take me away from myself. That's where I'm at. Thank you.
And don't forget to unmute yourself.
Thank you. So let's just sit for a moment in the energy of the needs. Your own needs that you shared, the needs that the other people in your group shared. And what goes on in your body, in your physical body and your emotional body, when you sit in the energy of the needs that you've just heard. What happens when you make room in yourself for your own needs and other people's needs? And in a moment, we're just going to open up for people to share either in the chat or live. Just your experience so far, including any questions you have. And yeah, I think that's enough from me. So you can either wave, I see Hefzi is raising her hand, or do the electronic hand.
Okay, so
Oh, Hefzi.
Do I do that?
Yeah, but we hear you. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
It was interesting in our group. I came very unconnected and very disturbed of the Zoom meditation and very blocked. And my partners, Hanan and Carl, just opened it up. So I really feel more connected, which I really needed. So thank you.
Yofi, Yofi. And just the invitation I want to put out for right now and for our whole time together and is just see how you can stay connected to whatever you're hearing. So not judging or evaluating, just staying connected. Whatever way you do that. That's the heart of nonviolent communication for me. How can I stay connected to myself, to others, to the world? Patricia, and then Sarah Joy.
I was just going to say that I heard my own needs in the needs of the others in my group. Yeah, it's just always wonderful to recognize our shared humanity.
Thank you. And that's what Sarah Joy has shared is exactly when this list that we were looking at of needs was developed, it was an attempt to find values that all humans and maybe all life shares. And it may or may not be true for every culture. And so it's always a work in progress. And just to have this experience that Sarah Joy had, which I also had, and just wave your hands if Sarah Joy's experience resonates with you, of just finding yourself in the needs of that other people were sharing. Yeah. Thank you. And also wave your hands if Hefzi's experience resonated with you, that you went into the small group not so connected, and then in the group found a connection. Just if that resonated also. Yeah.
And Roberta, just want to check in. I thought it was Patricia who just shared, and Sarah Joy would like to share next. Did I get that correctly, Sarah Joy? Or
yes.
Sorry, I'm just looking at Sarah Joy's picture. It's right next to mine on the Zoom screen. So I'm sorry, Patricia. Wow. Okay, I see Patricia. Thank you. Okay, Sarah Joy. Thank you.
Would you like to share now, Sarah?
Yeah. I really felt a lot of what Patricia felt, but and also what Roberta just asked. I came in, I was cold because my heater is not working, and I felt a little bit nervous, and I, ended up feeling warm after hearing the share and the needs. So I thought that was a pretty amazing change, and I really enjoyed the connection and compassion of my partner Judah. So thank you for facilitating that. That was a good beginning for me.
Thank you. And anyone else who wants to share where you are, something you discovered about yourself, NVC, Torah, or any questions? It's an open invitation.
To remind people how to raise their hand just in case, because if you wave your hand physically, that's okay too. However, we won't be able to see everyone. So raising your hand, you click on the bottom, the participant bottom, you'll see the list of name, and there's going to be a blue hand. Then click on that blue hand, and I see Shaiki and Seifa. So Shaiki, go ahead.
Hi to everyone. I'm very happy. Can you hear me well?
Not so well. Let's see.
Oh, it's better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm driving, but I don't want to miss the class, so I joined the class even on my drive. I'm very, I have a lot of appreciation for you for taking in life so much practice and sharing the knowledge and the tools with us. And it's helped me personally in my life, and I'm sure others are connected to that. So thank you.
Thank you.
So when you start, I shared a little bit in the group. My background, it's a very religious background. So when you start, when you start, I felt very relaxed. I've been practicing nonviolent communication for a long time, and it's really touched me to the day-to-day life by connecting to my employees, my clients, my family, my brothers and sisters that actually the family kind of disconnect a lot. They use the Torah tools to disconnect instead of connecting.
Wow.
So nonviolent communication really helped me a lot. And when you start to say Ayeka, I look in myself and I say, wow, I'm so relaxed. I'm so happy, kind of a beautiful life. But then when I got deep inside and I closed my eyes and I connect to really to the space of my heart, and I sense something inside bothering me. And I say, what I'm feeling. And then I kind of link it to how you take the Torah and you connect it to NVC. And I felt kind of threat in my personal heart inside that if we take the Torah, like where we really going with that? And then I look in myself and I say, oh my gosh, I'm judging here by saying if it's right or wrong, if it's correct or incorrect, and who I am to judge. It's such a beautiful history and beautiful book. And yeah, everyone should do whatever they do for their own life. And then when I try to see where it's really hurting me, what the need behind that. And when the need for, so first of all, it's bring a lot of memory of how, like, for me to connect to my brother, I have to listen with empathy of 30 or 40 hours of Torah to just reach out to his own personal need and feeling. And because he was not able to open up for that, I didn't push. I was just listening. So this is where I start feeling like, wow, if we're really going to go to the Torah line, we have so much to listen to. And then I just connect to myself and I have a little more clarity of my own feeling. And now that I'm looking in my feeling, this feeling is not there anymore. So I want to thank you so much for giving me this experience.
Thank you. Thank you. And just before we hear from
one second. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I hear
Sheke? How do you say your name?
Shaiki.
Shaiki. For that. So there's so much in what Shaiki said that I would love to unpack together. One principle that I really wanted to bring in is that sometimes we choose to hide or withdraw. Hiding is a little negative. There's nothing, remember, when we're in NVC land, there's no good, bad, right, wrong, which is an interesting, such an important lens to bring to Torah, and not easy, okay? But so sometimes we choose to not participate in a conversation, in a relationship. So rather than judging it as good or bad, can we meet that choice with curiosity? I think curiosity is a core element of practicing nonviolent communication. So, wow, I don't want to have a conversation yesterday with my neighbor who has switched to Trump in the last few weeks. I was in conversation with her, and I'm working on, lean in, Roberta. This is your opportunity to practice everything, to open your heart. And at a certain point, I realized I can't do it. So I don't want to judge my no. I want to hear, wow, what are my feelings and needs? And I was just feeling, this is something Mark shared in my small group. It was self-care. It's like, wow, I am too fragile and sensitive right now to keep going with this. And I want to embrace my own need and my own choice. What I do want to make sure of is that I'm not making the choice out of shame. And this is such an important look into this Torah portion and into how the Torah portion is often taught to us. It's often taught to us elevating shame or saying we are doomed to be in shame. So what I really learned from Marshall Rosenberg is that I never want to do anything out of shame. If I have that feeling, that's when I want to do this practice we just did, this self-empathy, self-connection practice. Wow, what am I telling myself that I'm hiding? And not because I'm meeting a beautiful need. I'm hiding because I'm telling myself bad narratives about myself. So this is so deep. And I just want to ask, is Emuna Witt on the call? The reason I'm asking is Emuna is supposed to present in segment 2, and I don't see her. And I'm not worried because she sometimes has an unstable internet. I'm sad, but okay, Emuna, if you're on the call, wave or something. I mean, she could be on, somebody else's name, but okay, Emuna is not on the call. Okay.
And we have a couple 2 hands up, Roberta, just so you know.
Yes, Shefa and Mark. So go ahead, Shefa.
Well, I do have something to share, but first, I have to say, when Shaiki said he was driving and sharing FaceTime, that freaked me out. And Shaiki, if you're going to...
I'm not driving, I'm just a passenger.
Yeah, you're a passenger. That was the important piece of information that was needed. Thank you. That's calmed me down a little bit. I was going to make a request that if you could pull over when you're sharing. That really got me concerned for your safety. Thank you. And what I was going to share is related to that, because our meditation was, I've been dealing with so much stress and feeling my own constrictions. And what I realized is during our meditation, when I started to feel the soft, natural pulse of my own being, that's when I really know I'm in connection with myself. And whatever the circumstances that I have that help foster that are, really the needs that I have to create more and more circumstances that foster that sweet connection to the pulse, my own natural pulse within myself. So, and I was noticing how my pulse diminished when I was getting worried about Shaiki's safety, as he was sharing. So it was a very delicate place, and I was so appreciative of the environment that helped me connect there. That's all.
Thank you, Shefa. And I want to thank Shefa and the organization she's part of, Regeneration, which is co-sponsoring this program. And we will post the link. Actually, maybe you could do that at some point, Shefa, so that people can check out this amazing global organization of peacemakers from many religious traditions, maybe all the Abrahamic ones for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. It's an honor for us to be connect with your work, and I honor very much what you are doing. Yes.
Mark.
I'm sitting and thinking about how Masha Rosenberg talked about how every language has a way of saying, how are you doing? And how that was, fundamental to NVC. And I'm so appreciating that you pointed that out as so early occurring in the Torah, that question appears so early. And, I'm reflecting upon how Marshall talked about how NVC is found in every religion. And, you brought it right out there for me. And I'm also reflecting on how whenever I'm hiding from my higher power. I shared in a small group that I spent the last 3 days at a convention of Alcoholics Anonymous, and which is a very spiritual program, and that whenever I'm in touch with what Robert Gonzalez, another NVC trainer, speaks to. He talks about how the needs are the doorway to our spirituality. And whenever I'm hiding, I'm not in touch with my needs. I'm not in touch with myself. I'm lacking self-connection. I'm lacking a God connection. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, and everyone. So we're going to move into what I'm calling segment 2, which is directly related to what Mark just shared, which is when I hide my own needs from myself, how can I communicate what's important to me to another person? I can't, is my experience, right? So staying with this theme of hiding or choosing non-participation, withdrawing, I'm going to invite us all to do a short practice with a pen and paper, if you have one. And if you prefer to do it in your head, that's okay. So think of something that you want to say to someone. It could be something that you've never said, something you tried saying, it didn't go so well. You've been avoiding saying it. Maybe you still don't know if you actually want to say it. This is your chance to practice. And just write down 1 or 2 sentences at the most. In fact, I wrote a sentence. This is handout. Well, let's not, I think if we post the handout, it'll just be too distracting because I want people to do your own practice. So what I wrote down as an example is something I wanted to say to a friend, a very close friend, that you'll hear why I haven't said it. I feel scared and tense when I have a sense that I have displeased you. So this is a line that I'm working with. So just write down something. What would it be like if I said this to someone? And again, this is this theme of where are you, right? In relation to yourself, and now in relation to another. And it could be God, as Mark said. Could be anyone. And I wrote the prompt in the chat, just in case.
I also added it just before you.
Ah, my example. So now look again at what you wrote, if you've written something, and write it down in a way that you sense would have the best chance of this person hearing what it is that you want them to hear. Just, see if you want to tweak what you wrote. And then as you're doing that, I would look at okay, that's the wrong, don't look in the chat yet. We're not there yet. Well, okay.
Oh, sorry, Roberta. I thought it was
It's all right.
number two.
It's okay. It's okay. Look at your two sentences and just see if you can connect with the needs of yours that you want to communicate, the needs of yours, the spirituality, the essence, the aliveness in you that you want to come through in what you communicate. And as an example, that's what I did before I came up with the second version of what I wrote down, which is what Jess posted. But don't be distracted by, what I wrote. Stay in your own process. Yeah, Monica, you have to unmute. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I think it would be helpful for me if we had the list of the needs, and I tried to find it and I couldn't.
Okay, yeah.
Is that okay for this?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
We can screen share the needs. So what are the needs, the life energies, the inner deep, the depths of you that are held in your spirituality, if that resonates, that you want to come through in your communication?
Would you say that again, Roberta?
I'll try. So these needs are kind of the form that in NVC we give to the energy that we want to come forth from us in our conversations, in our actions, in the way we hold each other, encounter each other, connect with each other. So we could, if you want, Patty, we could do a little coaching in the whole group if you're willing to do that and be recorded. Do you want to try that?
Okay.
Okay. So can you read one or two of your sentences about what it is that you want to communicate?
I wrote, I want us to be close in a spiritual way that scares me, and I don't know how to do that.
Okay, so what I'd like to do, just to create more participation, I want to check if it's okay with you, Patty. Can I ask people to guess with curiosity, Patty, are you trying to meet this need? Would that be okay? Okay, so read your sentence again, and this time, everyone, listen for the needs that you're hearing that Patty wants to come through in her communication. And if you think you have one, use that curiosity to go, Patty, is it that you really need, and make a guess with curiosity what the need might be. Okay? And then Shefa will go after this. Okay, so go ahead, Patty, read it again.
I want us to be close in a spiritual way, which scares me, and I don't know how to do that.
Okay. So, Sheki, do you want to ask the question live?
Sure. I don't see myself, but I'm sure you see me. I will ask if your login or need is for community, to have a place where you can connect and communicate.
Wait, a little closer to your microphone, maybe?
I will ask if you need it to communicate, for community, since you want to connect, you want to be able to communicate, and you want to have a safe place where it's a whole community with you together.
Is it that landing with you, Patty? Is it?
It is, in a way. I wrote this to a specific person, but no, not but, and the opportunity to do it in a different way is a nice opening.
Okay. So this is part of how we're learning NVC, is you come out of yourself to try it out, make a guess. And we could see, yeah, sort of, but that wasn't really the deep life energy that's, Patty didn't have a, yeah. And that's really what we're going for in NVC as much as possible. So are you open to a few other people making guesses like that, Patty?
Sure.
Okay. Stephen, is your hand up because you want to make a guess?
Yes. I'm wondering if the need that you're asking for is mutuality, even leading to a kind of intimacy.
I did write down intimacy.
Yeah. So let's all for a moment take in intimacy. and receiving a request for greater intimacy from someone. And in this case, a spiritual intimacy. Yeah. And Shafa, are you raising your hand to make a guess, or that was from before? Okay. And anybody else want to make one more guess to Patty? Harriet.
Hi, it just occurred to me, Patty, I'm wondering, do you have a need to be known in a spiritual sense by someone else?
Again, that's not where I went with it, but it's an interesting possibility to explore.
Thank you.
Okay, so just sort of swimming in the energy of these needs, Patty. Maybe, Jess, you can put the needs list up again. And Patty, do you have a kind of clearer sense of what needs of yours you might be wanting to meet? In other words, what needs you want, the energy of the needs that you want to come through. Because when we say we want to meet, what we're really saying is that in this encounter with this other person, we want to meet, like both of us encounter the beauty of these needs.
I had written down companionship and intimacy, and I think warmth is feeling like it wants to be added.
Beautiful. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, hear a question or a comment from Shafa, and then we're going to go into small groups, and we're all going to take turns practicing what we just did with Patty. We'll each read our sentence, and then first, the speaker can first say the needs you're wanting to meet, and then if you're open to other people making guesses, which we're not always open in that way. Sometimes it could feel too sensitive, or you don't like other people putting words in your mouth. You know, that could be a trigger for some people. But so if you are comfortable, you could say, yeah, I'd love to hear your guesses. Okay. And then you will just say the sentence again to the person in whatever way you sense the needs will come through. Okay. So it's a practice in returning to yourself, which, by the way, is the tie-in to Lech Lecha, which is this week's portion of the Torah. For those of us who follow the Torah cycle, it's what Abraham heard God saying. So from Ayeka, where are you? Which is what was said to the human who was hiding and falling. God says to Abraham, who is coming out and rising, right? Go to yourself, lech lecha. So what we're doing is we're going to ourself through this inner process of, you know, what are the needs I want to meet in this communication? We're getting support from community, if we want it, to help us really connect with those needs. And then we're going to say the sentence as if we're saying it to this person in a way that brings out what's usually invisible, the energy of our needs. Okay? So we're going to do that in small groups in a moment after we hear from Shafa.
Okay. My question was, I wanted to get your help in I was looking for the needs of responsibility or accountability. And I saw under honesty, there was integrity, under meaning, effectiveness, competence. But I wanted to get you to weigh in about why accountability or responsibility isn't on the list. There must be a reason.
Yeah. I would say that if you can hold responsibility or accountability as an energy that brings you alive and brings you into connection with life energy, or into connection with the other person, that then put it on your list. That's what I would say, because this list is very alive and very dynamic. I will say that for me, it would be hard for me to imagine myself saying to someone, my need is for accountability, and without meaning, and this is again just me, why it's not on my list, okay? I think if I said that to someone, I want accountability, I think there would be a negative judgment in there that they did something wrong. Yeah. And this is the case with all these needs. For example, cooperation. Very often the first need when we're sharing NVC within families. Very often the first need you hear is, I want cooperation. And I encourage people to start with cooperation and then keep going. If you had that cooperation, so I'm going to do this with accountability also. If you had that accountability, then what need would be met? Because I think it would be hard for me to hear from someone, I want accountability or responsibility. It would be hard for me to hear that without hearing a criticism of me. And we want to use, and that's not the case for everyone, but it could be for the person you're talking to. So let me ask you, if in the sentence you're thinking of, if you had that accountability that you really want, then what needs of yours would be met? And can we post the needs list again? And this is a great NVC tool, I think.
My need would be trust and relaxation.
Okay.
So.
Right. Okay. So we didn't even need that. So just imagine, and you could do this in your small group when you're practicing, which is going to really most likely give that other person an encounter with the energy that you want to connect the two of you. Relaxation or accountability, right? So this was a practice I learned early on when I was learning NVC. It's a practice, I learned it from John Kenyon, another trainer who also likes to integrate NVC, in his case with Taoism. And he called this the continuum of needs. So accountability, responsibility, cooperation, those are needs that are closest to wanting someone to do something, right? Mm-hmm. And it's important information, And if we keep on going down the continuum, we get closer to, I think, what we were talking about before, the spirituality. I mean, what is the real beauty that you're yearning for when you think, I want accountability, responsibility, cooperation, right? And I think the further down you could go, at least inside yourself, the more likely whatever you say is going to come from an energy of inviting rather than judging.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Stephen.
I just wanted to clarify going into the breakout group. There were 3 sentences that show a path through needs, my own and the other person in the conversation. Are we just supposed to take where we got to, or I mean, the dynamic of what I'm dealing with in terms of needs? I would never say any of these sentences probably, but I can see in each iteration a path I was on in where I got to in terms of that, or should I just use the final place that I got?
I would say in your 4 minutes,
do
the process that's going to best meet your needs.
Okay, great.
For learning, for growing, for discovery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Not necessarily just one question. Okay.
Yeah. You might want to share, wow, this was the first question. And then I realized, so here's the second question. And the second question really helps me connect more with my needs, which is what happened to me. And also by saying these things out loud, right, it helps us really take it in. So this is all for everybody's learning. So, okay, so again, we're going to have groups mostly of 3, and each person will have 4 minutes. And there will be a prompt after the first 4 minutes that says 8 minutes to go, which is your clue to switch. And do we know who's in my group yet?
Yes, I have 2 people. And if I made a mistake, by the way, don't hesitate to. There is a button in your breakout groups to ask for help. It would prompt me a message and I can join your group if you need to have a change or something. And I'm just seeing that someone is loading their group. So let me just switch quickly, Roberta, and then we'll have like you said, 12 minutes, right?
4 minutes each. So you're going to share your sentence or both your sentences, and then the needs that you really want to come alive in sharing, and then you're going to say it as if you're saying it to that person. You know, your best effort in the moment to make this communication with that need, those needs coming through. Whoa. Alice and Hanan, 2 people I know, and I think do the 2 of you know each other?
No.
Well, now you will definitely
Nice to meet you.
or whatever. So great. So great you're both here. So cool. Does one of you want to start by sharing your sentences and then the needs that you've connected with? And then if you want, you can ask us, do you hear any other needs? And then you actually role play, say the sentence in whatever way you think that the needs will come through.
Alice, you want to go first?
Sure. I feel like I'm stumbling through this.
Alice, you're breaking up. You're static.
Is it better now?
Keep talking.
Is it better now when I speak?
It's better, but there's still static.
Or is it? I don't know what I can do with that.
Okay, I can live with that. Can you, Hanan? Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So my statement is that I feel inhibited and constricted in our connections, in our conversations. I would like to feel, I need to feel a sense of trust and welcome to be myself, who I am in our relationship.
Great. So let's try a little practice for a moment. Okay. Of course, Alice was like one of my first NVC teachers. So here we go. Just take in for a moment. Just take in for a moment the need for trust. Just sitting in that trust you said you wanted. Trust where you're in this relationship with this person. Maybe you can even imagine I'm in this relationship with this person and I feel enough trust and maybe relaxation so I could totally be myself. Totally be myself. So want to be in relationship and be myself. Yeah. And there's just, do you feel like a relaxation in your body when you just, I did just, yeah. So maybe try communicating that without the feeling part. I'm just so yearning to be myself. You want to try that?
Sure. I feel it in my heart, and I know, and I think we've been in that space before, where we felt that comfort together, and I miss that. Yeah, I really miss that. And I think it just feels so huge to me. It's such a void. I have such a sense of loss. Yeah, such a sense of loss. Like, can we get that again? Is that even, it's something that I want. I'm not sure it's something you want. And I'm at that place where I don't want I don't want it to be that way, but I can accept that if that's your preference. That's where we are. We just don't have that anymore. So sad. So sad.
Okay, go to the last step of NVC, which wasn't part of this particular exercise, Hanan. But the last step is Alice asking, you really got to, what is it you want to know? You want to know, do they want that too? So make that request.
Right. Yeah. Right. So do you feel able to share with me? Do you share this importance? Do you want this? Do you want this going forward?
That's
to
enough.
be.
That's enough. Don't say because I feel sad or I accept it, right? Because you really want to know where they're at, right?
Yes.
Sorry if I interrupted.
Yeah. Well, the question is to be. Where that came up for me was to be different. For it to be different than it is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't understand the last sentence, how it fits.
Good feedback.
Yeah. I think because if they're comfortable with this, if they don't see anything wrong with this relationship the way it is.
Well, here's my suggestion, Alice. Act as if Hanan is the person you said it to. So now.
Oh, okay.
Redo it so that he understands. And then we have to switch quickly to Hanan.
No, we don't. I'm willing to spend more time with Alice.
Well, thank you, but I missed the other part too.
Okay.
So I was, yeah. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel able to? Are you willing to share with me what you want from this? Do you want our relationship to be different, or are you content? Is this how you want your relationship to be?
Great. Okay, we're going to switch. I think you're so on a path. Great. All right, Hanan.
So the reason I said that we could stay with Alice is because I really couldn't think of anything that there's something I want to say to anyone that I haven't already said. And the only thing I can think of is something that I want to say to the Israeli and Palestinian people.
All right, let's hear it.
But it doesn't really fit into the exercise.
We'll make it fit.
But okay, so I really, really, really want to say that conflict is a decision, that we're doing it to ourselves. It doesn't have to be like that. And I have such a deep, deep sense that almost no one understands that. Almost no one agrees with that. Almost no one can see anything in that sentence other than naivete and stupidity or blindness. So then I ask myself, so what is my need? Why do I feel that I have to say this? And my need is to help. My need is to, I want to be helpful. I mean, it's more than helpful. I want to stop people from killing each other. I don't want to see people dying.
Okay,
I don't want to see
so
people...
let me, and of course I'm totally with you, and I'm sure Alice is too. So think of what need do you, what is it that you want to understand from this person? See what I mean? It's very often we have a big communication, but there's something you think of one person who you're saying this to. It could be your next door neighbor in the gush, I'm sure, right? So there's some kind of understanding, I think, that you want from them. Like, help me understand what makes it hard for you to want what I want, right? Because if you had that understanding, you would be probably way more effective in your work, right? So there's, I'll say this because we're going to go back right now, but there's often two levels of needs going on. And when we have a hard time imagining the bigger one, it means that the primary one is, okay, what do I want from this person? Why am I approaching this person? And it's usually to help me understand the bigger picture, to help me be more effective in the work. Hanan is doing incredible.
And welcome back, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Okay, no, we have about 8 minutes to debrief, and then we're going to take a little break because we have something very special for segment 3. And I just want to say that and for me, a principle that's been very important for my NVC practice came up in my small group, which is that very often when I want to make a communication to someone, there's 2 levels at least, but 2 levels of needs in play. One is kind of the problem solving need, you know, the bigger need, which in this case was stopping violence between Israelis and Palestinians in the Middle East. That's a pretty big need, right? The other level of needs is the one that I want to meet with this person right in front of me. You know, what is the relational need? Why do I want to share this with this person, right? And it could be because I want trust. It's an ongoing relationship. I want to know if I have partnership. It could be understanding of what is their relationship to the bigger picture so that I'm more effective in my work. So this is also something I find that's very, very helpful to look at when I want to engage in a difficult relationship. Why with this person? What are the needs I'm trying to meet in relation to this conversation with this person, which we often call like connection needs? And then what are the needs, the more problem solving, bigger picture needs? So, and that's really a helpful one for activists. And there's quite a few activists on this call, which is something I celebrate. Floor is open for any feedback and reflections. Everyone. Okay, I know we have about 8 minutes to debrief, and then we're going to take a little break because we have something very special for segment 3. And I just want to say that and for me, a principle that's been very important for my NVC practice came up in my small group, which is that very often when I want to make a communication to someone, there's 2 levels at least, but 2 levels of needs in play. One is kind of the problem solving need, you know, the bigger need, which in this case was stopping violence between Israelis and Palestinians in the Middle East. That's a pretty big need, right? The other level of needs is the one that I want to meet with this person right in front of me. You know, what is the relational need? Why do I want to share this with this person, right? And it could be because I want trust. It's an ongoing relationship. I want to know if I have partnership. It could be understanding of what is their relationship to the bigger picture so that I'm more effective in my work. So this is also something I find that's very, very helpful to look at when I want to engage in a difficult relationship. Why with this person? What are the needs I'm trying to meet in relation to this conversation with this person, which we often call like connection needs? And then what are the needs, the more problem solving, bigger picture needs? So And that's really a helpful one for activists. And there's quite a few activists on this call, which is something I celebrate. Floor is open for any feedback and reflections.
And to orient a little bit people, Roberta, would you prefer just simple chats or electronic hands?
However you want to. Well, Jessica has said several times, use the electronic hand if you can.
I'm happy to.
We're all on one screen now. We're all on one screen now, so it's easier.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Joy.
And I'm also happy to invite people, since we're not a huge group, to, if they want to, just unmute themselves right away. So thank you, Sarah, for raising your hand. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think this was a really good exercise for me, and I appreciated my partners giving me their feedback. And at the very end, right before I finished talking, I realized that I was trying to. My need was compassion, but the person that I was wanting compassion for, in terms of where my pain was not the right person to get compassion from. And this is my brother, who's a doctor, so he's coming from his doctor place, and which is not going to be the place that I'm going to get compassion for. I can get compassion for him from other things, but not for this particular thing. So I just wanted to share that. And I think what you just said about the relational needs, that kind of, I want you to talk a little bit more about that, because that might help clarify what I can ask him for and what I can't ask him for, and what kind of support I need from him in my health issues.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And yeah, great framing of the question. So there are needs you want to meet in your relationship, needs that you want met, needs that you want alive in your relationship with your brother. That's separate from the needs you want to meet in learning about how to address your health issues. Right? It's two different needs, two different sets of needs. Do you see that? Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm figuring that out because he interrupts me when I'm talking to him about, and then he doesn't want to finish the conversation. So I just had time to think about what my needs are and realize that I can't expect to get compassion from him in that particular area, that I need to go elsewhere to get my compassion, and then figure out what I can ask him for.
So that may be a door to more effective strategies for you. And at the same time, I want to encourage you to just imagine doing a role play with your brother, with somebody else being your brother, just about, this is what I'm yearning for when I go to you for advice, suggestions. It's like I really feel uneasy when I'm speaking and you start speaking before I finish speaking. So I'm wondering, if you could just, before you jump in, even when I'm coming to you for advice, you can connect a little bit with where I'm at, if that's what it is. But before you make a decision about what strategy you're going to employ, to really more fully connect with both sets of needs. And then see if you can come up with a strategy that meets both sets of needs. The needs you want to meet in your communication with your brother, and the needs you want to meet in moving forward with your health issues. This is a way that NVC really, really helps me. I try to collect as many of the needs that I want to meet in any choice I'm about to make. And I try to think, is there a strategy that I could think of that will meet all the needs? And then go for that one. Is that helpful for now?
That's helpful. I will look back at it and see if I can put down more needs and figure that out separately.
Great.
Thank you.
And I really encourage anyone here who wants to go further with NVC to get involved in an NVC practice group. And there's all kinds of resources to help you find one if you don't have one, so that you can, this is just what you would practice in a practice group. You know, I have 2 sets of needs I want to meet. How do I communicate with my brother, and how do I get his, you know, anyone's help with my health? You know, let me practice them. So, yeah. All right. So I don't see any more hands up. So let's take a 10-minute break, and then please come back right at the top of the hour when Eti and Heftzi are going to join me in presenting the last segment of the class, which is going to go into a lot of what we've touched on. This is using the NVC principle of the needs and then the strategies we employ to meet the needs in service of forming an activist, an organization, a project that they are working on. I don't want to characterize it. So see you all at the top of the hour. And Jessica has posted in the chat a link to help you find a practice group in your area if you don't have one. Betsy and Eti are going to just bring us to this beautiful section from actually from the Babylonian Talmud, right? That I think really shows the deep spirituality of this relationship between needs and the strategies to meet needs. I think this is something could take our NVC practice to a really amazing spiritual level, actually. And so I just wanted to introduce Heftzi and Eti, who are both from Jerusalem. And I'm looking for my printout. Here it is. I said I would introduce them, right? So they are from an organization that's called Arevot. And the meaning of the word Arevot is so deep and like mystical that I'm actually going to invite Heftzi or Eti to explain even what the word means. Arevot is an organization of women based in Jerusalem, but all over what's now Israel, I think. That is a project where women from the Sephardic and Mizrahi, in other words, not Central and Eastern and Northern Europe, but Southern Europe and Africa, women from Arab countries, Jewish women who are themselves scholars and deep practitioners of the Jewish tradition, are looking for ways to really create shared movements for peace and justice with Palestinian and Arab women who live inside of Israel. So I think that's enough from me for this segment to introduce this. And I wonder, let's see, if there's some way we could, you know what we could do for a moment, just so you can all see Heftzi and Eti. If everyone other than, if you're not Heftzi or Eti, just turn off your video just for a moment. Just hit stop video. And this way you can see Heftzi and Eti. So there's Heftzi is spotlighted. And then
okay.
Eti also, if you want to spotlight Eti for a moment. Oh, beautiful. Okay.
But we can't see the text.
Okay. All right. So, well, now we've seen you. So now we can go back to, thank you. Look, can you see it now?
Yeah, but we want to see you as well. So.
Okay. So now make it bigger. And everybody else, you can turn your video back on if you want. So Jessica, can you just make the handout screen size now? Fit to window. That's a little too big, right?
If I put screen size, I'm not sure if this is
okay.
like,
So maybe
this,
just 100%.
this is screen. This is all screen. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right. So welcome, Heftzi and Eti, and would you like to begin?
Yes, but can we see everyone else? Eti, what do you say? I would like to see everyone else, because right now we just see ourselves. So I don't know.
Yeah, if you go up to view on the top right and you click that and you hit side by side gallery.
Okay.
You'll see more people. But you can't see the whole room of people and screen share at the same time. Okay.
So I'll start, and Eti, will add if I missed something. So as Roberta said, we are a group of activists. We are a part of Bet Midrash Arevot, and we are traditionalist or Masorti women. In our Bet Midrash, we have a variety of identities, like from secular to religious, and all what is between. We have Ashkenazi and Sfaradi. I don't know if everyone is familiar with the concepts and reality in Israel. And we thought that because we have a double experience of being like underprivileged on one side, and maybe privileged towards Palestinians, and also because most of our families came from Muslim countries in our groups. Of course, not all of us, but the majority of us are coming from Arab groups. We thought that this is an opportunity to bring the message of we are part of the Middle East, we are part of the culture, we are closer to the culture. Maybe we can do something with it in peacemaking and in partnership. And I just want to stress that we do it not only Arevot means come from Arevut, from solidarity. But we add to we usually are accustomed to the right discourse, who says, I will fight for your rights, you will fight for my rights, and we will be equal in rights. And we try to introduce a different language, who says that we are, it's not that there is something in this right language that keep us apart from each other. and we want to introduce another language. They say we are arevot zo lazo. We are arevot ze laze. We are arevim, which means responsibility and connection. There is a lot of many meaning to it. So when we say we are in solidarity, it means that your concern and your worries are mine, and vice versa. So it's a different language. So this is the main thing that we want to put on the table. And as I said, the fact that we have both sides of the experience, Eti, do you want to add something? Okay. So I want to bring.
Wait 1 second, Hefzi. Let me just say. What I want to invite those of us who are listening is to listen to for the needs that you think Hefzi and Eti and Arevot want to meet. Okay, because what you'll hear or maybe heard is that what we're doing right now is really supporting them in using NVC to create their next steps, their approach, their strategy. So we want to first really see if we can be support to them in hearing what are the needs they want to meet. And they're very complex because of the complexity of the situation. And then we'll look at what are some of the strategies that might meet all the needs. Are there strategies that will meet all the needs? Okay, I just wanted to put that in. So we're doing what Marshall Rosenberg called putting on our giraffe ears so that we really hear needs.
Okay, so we brought a piece from the Babylonian Talmud, which I'll read and then take it from there to our issue that we wanted to bring here. So, הרבה טיפים, I'll read it in Hebrew first. הרבה טיפים בראתי באבים, וכל טיפה וטיפה בראתי לה דפוס בפני עצמה. שלא יהיו שתי טיפים יוצאות מדפוס אחד. שאלמלא שתי טיפים יוצאות מדפוס אחד, מטשטשות את הארץ ואינה מוציאה פירות. Does someone want to read it in English so it will, please, Roberta, would you like to read it?
Okay. I created many drops in the cloud, and I created every drop in its own form, so that there are no two drops with the same form. Since if two drops had the same form, they would blur the earth, and it would not bear fruits.
Thank you. So what we love about it is that there is a very great diversity that is needed to sustain the world. And what it implies is that we are all equal. And every one of us bring to the table what is unique about him, and there is a harmony and collaboration to sustain the world. And that's what God is asked us to hear. But in our situation, when we are going to be a part of a group of Arab Palestinian women and Jews, Mizrahi Jews, we are not sure that we will be equal in the group, even though we aspire for equal partnership. And Eti and I thought that we want to put it on the table as we work and as we go along, to say how to make a real partnership. Is it possible? is it important? Or maybe it's okay to recognize that we are not equal, and there are, it's not that we are not equal, but there are what I mean, it's not that we are not equal because we are different and everyone is unique, but politically, we are not equal. The situation cannot give us equality. So is it important, and how to work with it? So this is our question to the group, how to work with NVC to address this issue. Was I clear?
You were for me. We'll see if other people have questions. Etty, did you want to share anything before we opened it up? And then Shefa is already.
No, I think Hefti told everything I could say.
Okay, so before we hear from Shefa, so feel free to ask questions that will help you understand how to connect with the needs that they want to meet. Just questions that will help you connect. And then also reflections. Okay, Shefa. Oh, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. First off, I feel very, very moved by the question. And I'm thinking for myself, just in my training as a psychotherapist, the key piece of the training was to realize the power differential. That when you work as a therapist, you have more power than the client coming in, and you have to be responsible for your use of power. And I think about the disparity of power between the Palestinian and the Israeli community, the Jewish and the Arab community, as far as resource allocation, as far as just civil rights. So I think that the question that you're asking is such a profound question in view of that situation. And I know I'm thinking for myself, for the various programs that our organization has worked with in Israel, it was really about finding a meeting ground that helped lift up. It was really in recognizing the disparity of that power and then doing what we could to help lift, whether it was supporting a theater program, for where Jewish and Arab students met and bringing in remedial resources because the Arab students just didn't have the background to draw on that the Jewish students did. In Jerusalem, I'm thinking about one teacher we worked with who worked with the whole sewage problem. And in East Jerusalem, there's a disaster with the sewage. And so it was really, helping the living situation for the Palestinians in East Jerusalem. And, meeting on the turf that's needed to improve the quality of lives and finding ways to do that. And in our situation right now with supporting Waldorf education, it's very popular in the Jewish communities in Israel. And we're working and creating parity in the Arab communities by supporting the growth of Waldorf education in the Arab communities. So I always think then in looking at the needs of the community, finding a meeting ground that helps to, through action and deeds, address the community and not just a place for just pure conversation, because action is required at this time in different ways. So, in hearing, I think a lot about with Black Lives Matter here, and hearing what are the needs in the Black community today here, and how can we meet that? So I think listening for the needs, becoming aware of the needs, and then finding a place of a meeting ground that really addresses it in some kind of way, and then being informed by the tools of NVC. I mean, that would be what's pouring out of me as I'm hearing this beautiful question.
Yeah, thank you. So I just want to pause for a moment. First of all, really appreciate so much in what Shefa has shared that I imagine really will support how Hefzi and Eti and others are thinking about it. But just to keep this in a frame of NVC skills building, how would it be for you, Shefa, to now finish your sharing by asking Hefzi and Eti, was that helpful? Did my sharing meet the needs you want to meet? So this is another NVC practice. And it's, again, with this ayeka that we started with, where are you? Now we're throwing it back to the other person. Where are you in relation to what you heard me share? And by the way, Shefa, this is a strategy, I think, for creating that connection that you were looking for when you asked about accountability, right?
Excellent. Yeah.
This is the beauty. Accountability is, so I'm going to show up in that energy, you know. So go ahead. Do you want to just try that, Shefa?
Okay, I still have the Babylonian Talmud in front of me.
Yeah.
So I'm there. We so I just to check in with Eddie and is it Hetzi? Did I address any of the needs that you put out, or did I miss the mark?
For me, you just emphasizes the difference, I think, maybe in the needs of Arivot and the needs of the Muslim women that we want to work with. So I think it is very important to think also about their needs and not only about our needs. So wow. Thank you.
Wow.
I was concerned, thank you, Shefa, but I was concerned about what will happen, as Eti said, within our group. Because I'll share with you a moment that Eti and I had. We were talking about these problem about inequality of the power that we will have. And then we were talking, and I was saying, going on and on and on. And Eti stopped me and said, Hefzi, but we are talking and talking, and you remember that we decided to bring to the table very early two Palestinian partners. So I said, thank you, Eti, because I'm involved in these leading the project and knowing what to do. And while we decided that we want partners and we wanted to hear from them. So Eti reminded me of my holding of power. So I'm really occupied of how to do that without being, איך אומרים, להיות
well, Bangli,
won't paralyze us.
How to hold power without being, what was the word?
Without being, without abusing it and without being paralyzed by it, because of I don't want to abuse it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
okay. Great. So again, what I just want to encourage us to do now is hold this whole strategizing session in the energy of nonviolent communication, because that's something that they're interested in exploring. And also this is an NVC training. So I want to ask, is there someone listening right now who just wants to reflect back to Hefzi to see if you have understood the needs that she just expressed, not before. Because part of the NVC practice, one of the ways that we keep it alive is that we follow the energy of the person who is speaking. So even though we might be still want to go back to what Shefa said, which was so juicy and amazing, right now the invitation is to just reflect back what you're checking in with Hefzi. Let me see if I got what you're looking for right now in what you just said. Okay? So is there somebody who wants to try doing that right now? And I just want to say one more thing about that. Perhaps you've already noticed, and if you're now going to go out and try doing NVC in your conversations, it's very likely you will notice that we're always skipping over connecting around needs. All so busy in the world and so overloaded land districts that we just, we're just right away, who's doing this at what time? And we never stop and slow down and connect around the needs. And that's what we want to start to do, so that whatever decisions we make and strategies we make will include everyone. That's one of the flips that NVC is offering for us. So, okay, so I see 3 hands raised.
I'm thinking, Roberta, to go with Patricia. Oh, I think Patricia has an issue with her hand, so I'm wondering if we can go to Patricia to make sure if she wants to share, and then Alice, and then Shaiki. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Patricia, if you can
and I
unmute
just
yourself.
want to make sure that you're raising your hand, that whoever speaks next makes a reflection guess to Hefzi. So, Patricia, is that what you wanted to do?
Originally, I had a question to ask, but I'm quite willing to try to reflect back what Hefzi just said.
Thank you.
I believe that I understood, and referring all the way from Shefa to Eti, you referred to Eti reminding you of the intention to bring on partners to work alongside of within this whole question of how to deal with the imbalance of power. And I believe what else I heard is your feeling of responsibility that you referred to being very involved in, and the need to be responsible to this whole thing you're trying to create, and to have it work well and run well. And so I would want to check with you, where I heard that to a certain extent you feel you were involved in your own needs, forgetting for a time how to really bring in and look for the needs of the others involved. Is that accurate, or did I leave out things?
Can you repeat the last sentence? It's because I didn't get the last sentence.
Okay. Yeah. This is implied, so you did not say this expressly. So that's why I said I wanted to check with you, but it sounded to me like what you were implying is that you were so engaged in your own needs about creating this that for a time you forgot the needs to find the needs of the others, and Eti reminded you of how you wanted to bring on partners.
Yes, right. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Are you okay hearing another reflection back, Hefzi? Is it helpful to hear this?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, very.
Okay, Shaiki? You have to unmute.
Okay, I'm here. Yes, so I'm hearing that you have a strong need for to have equal power, and not equal power, I'm not going to call it equal power, but it's called to have equal tools and opportunity between the Palestinian woman and the Jewish woman that come from the same place, even they are all different, and you want to have you have a need to get the right tools so you can all practice together and share this value together without being one leader or another leader, just as a community. Do I hear you correct?
Yeah. Yeah, if you drive over there to thank you. And before we hear from other people, I just want to see Chetzi and Eti, are there other needs or aspects of this that you want to bring in that people can then reflect back? Because what we're doing now is we're in a process of gathering all the needs that they want to put in their basket to then consider what strategies, what steps do we take?
I can share that it's not a need, but I have a fear that I will do wrong or wrong people without intention to doing so, because of the complexity of the situation, and or maybe be too sensitive, so I will lose myself in that situation. So that's what I'm writing now.
Yeah. And so before we see if anyone wants to reflect back, the needs you hear in that, so you could see, it's going to help Chetzi to have a reflection back of, well, maybe the needs are these. Time up is a very important concept in nonviolent communication, and it's not even from nonviolent communication, which is power. So we say that in nonviolent communication, we are looking for power sharing. So not power over and not power under. And this is, I think, what Chetzi's already there in her intention to live that way, not in power over and not in power under. How do you do that?
Yes.
Is a huge, huge challenge. And I just want to really celebrate that what we're trying to do right now is talk about how do we create this movement, world, relationships, connections that are free from power over or power under. And for me, the way NVC helps me do this, and I certainly haven't perfected it, if there's such a thing as perfecting it, is to keep checking in with myself that I value the other person's needs being met as much as I value my needs being met. And I value my needs being met. I'm not sure if I would say I value my needs being met as much as I value the other person's needs being met. That is where this whole issue of power and privilege really comes into play. Because I think what Chetzi and Eti have been saying is that they're doing this in a bigger context. They're doing this project in a context where obviously obviously the needs of Jewish Israelis count more than the needs of Palestinians and Arabs. I mean, that's not hidden. That is the basis of the nation state of Israel. So they are trying within a greater context that is not about power sharing, right? They're trying to create something that there has not been room made for what they want to do. And it's the same thing that we're trying to do in the US and in many countries everywhere. It's very clear to me, at least, that, the US, well, when it was created, I mean, Black people were slaves. Not only they didn't have the right to vote or own property, they were enslaved, so we're trying to now create new power relationships within structures that were not created to do this. So, yeah. So, and just one other little prompt. If you want to make a reflection back, yes, to Hefzi right now about the last thing she said about power and her fears, try out starting with, instead of I'm hearing that, try starting out with, is it that? So that it's really an inquiry. Is it that? We really want to bring this energy of curiosity back into our guesses in NVC. Because I've had the experience, and I'm sure many of us have had who are practicing NVC, have had the experience of people hearing it as, telling me my experience. Do not do that, right? So this is a wording that I learned from Liv Larson at the last NVC, actually in the West Bank. I noticed when she was reflecting back in the mediations we were having, she would always say, is it that you really want? So just an invitation to try that form. I'm going to call on Ellen because we haven't heard from her, and Ellen is a colleague and NVC trainer in Jerusalem.
Hi. Oops, where's my mic? Hi, everyone. I think the thing, Hefsi, that you heard, is it that you want to be responsible and aware of your power and not to, I heard you say you didn't want to abuse it, but on the other hand, and in addition, you really want to value the gifts which may include a certain amount of power at the same time. Does that land on you?
Yes, thank you. And it adds to what Roberta says, that we want to be free from power over or power underneath, you said?
Yeah.
Like the balance.
Yeah. Yeah, within your group, and you're living in a situation where what is not that freedom. And I'd love to talk to you offline about your program and some things I'm thinking about. So you can get my information from Roberta.
Thank you.
Well, you live walking distance to each other. So, okay. These are two houses I stayed at many times. Okay, so before we'll just hear from the other people, and then I really want to move to what are some strategies that you can imagine that would really maybe, support Hefzi and Eddie in showing up in the way they're saying they want to show up, with neither power under or power over. What are some of the strategies to meet those needs? And And then there were also the needs in the first round. And Shefa actually made some strategy suggestions that I thought were very exciting. So, okay, Alice, unmute yourself. Uh-oh. Alice, are you there?
Yep.
Okay.
And so my question is it that you recognize the way power stands now limits the relationship that you're seeking to have with your partner within this partnership, and that what you are seeking is a balance of power with that honors and respects all of the voices that you want to be at the table, and in this connection that you are creating.
I couldn't hear part of it because you were broken. So, Roberta, did you hear what Alice said? Or
Yeah, Alice's connection's a little static. Yeah, well, I think it's kind of in line with what people have shared that you're looking for. Is it that you're looking for a balance between power over, well, you know, to find the balance that there isn't power over, power under, and that is really respecting and valuing everyone's contribution, your own and the contribution of the Palestinian and Arab women. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd say to clarify that it's the sense of, rather than looking at the power under, power over, to look at what supports power with.
Beautiful.
As a separate concept of power with, what does that mean? And that means that each interaction is sensitive to how it's being intended, but also how it's being received.
Okay. Thank you, Alice. So, it's hard to hear, so I would like us to shift to exactly what Alice is proposing. What are some strategies that will support power with, right? So I really appreciate that reframing. So I'm just going to take down the hands that are up, unless Sarah Joy, is it like really urgent? Because we are running out of time, and I really want to use this time to show how NVC supports us really getting to strategies. You know, NVC is not only empathy. I mean, it really can guide us in action. So
I just wanted to throw the need of trust in there. You know, trust that they have for you and that you might like for them. That's all. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So let's put in our basket of needs trust, and explore what are some strategies that will support your project moving forward in a model of power with, or power sharing. Patricia.
Okay. Don't want to speak too much, but if nobody else is raising their hand, trust came to mind for me very strongly too. And I just want to say that it seems to get to participants, Palestinians, to help plan with you is already one of the first steps toward empowerment for them, for those particular people, and then for the group that they represent. And a building of trust comes from I love Roberta's use of the word invitation, because I think that's so important, that the invitation is there. What are your needs? What do you see needs to come into the planning of this? And having some sense of equality in an actual organizing and planning of what will take place. So I think I'll just stop at that. But I just, those are very important words: invitation, empowerment, what, you know, the asking, what are the needs of the other?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Chetzi and Eti, what are kind of the most specific questions you have that you'd like us to support you in kind of brain heartwarming? So maybe one is what Sarah Joy said, how to include Palestinian or Arab women as soon as possible as equal partners, you know, for example.
It is so complicated because even the language is an issue, because we don't speak fluent Arabic. So even there we will have the inequality.
Yeah. So what's a specific strategy that would to consider to address the language issue? Okay, that's, so in other words, the general need is trust, power sharing, equality, right? And then we're into a specific category now of language.
Mm-hmm.
So then you keep going down. So what's a specific strategy that could address the need for language equality? And then you keep going. So then what strategies do we need to address that? For example, it's probably going to involve money, you know, hiring a translator or finding the right translator. And then it'll be strategies for finding the right translator. And I could think of someone who would be amazing for you, you know, from the NVC work. Amal Abbas is, who knows? You know her. Anyway.
Yeah.
You know, but so this is just sort of the general framework. It's kind of like we were talking before about this continuum of needs, right? There's a continuum of strategies. Okay, so yeah, connection, trust, communication, language, translator, who, how do we find the translator? How do we finance the translator? What do we build so that the translator is a full partner, which I could share in our nonviolent communication trainings with Israelis and Palestinians. We moved more and more and more to a model where our translators absolutely became part of the team. You know, in the beginning, they were sort of like employees in a way, you know, respected and appreciated. But this year, and actually the last 2 years of our big trainings in the West Bank, the organizers became like organizers / translator. And now the translators, our main Arabic language actually translators, are all NVC trainers. So there's, you just keep going. And I think the important, something that's just so important with a way that NVC helps this is you just keep looking at what are the needs you want to meet, and you create a system around meeting the needs. So you make sure the system does not take on a life of its own, which is what happens in the world. We're living right now under the oppression of systems. Nobody even knows, these algorithms on social media, there's systems that they are leading, and NVC wants to turn that around. So you just keep asking, okay, we have this system set up. We're considering this structure. Is it meeting the needs we want to meet? We just keep asking ourselves that over and over. Is this meeting the needs? And there will be new needs, right? As people have pointed out, when Palestinian women become completely a part of your team, there will be new needs. So you have to, I would say another strategy in there is what we call transparency, which is to keep saying, we want to make sure that we're doing power with, and we understand we're doing this in a structure, a society that we don't have that, so it requires vulnerability. We're back to where we started today. Ayeka, where are you? If you want full partnership, you want to continually be giving yourself empathy so that you can let go of having to hide anything, which is very vulnerable. So, okay, that's a little bit. Stephen and then Shefa, both Stephen and Shefa are also heavily, deeply involved in organizations between Israelis and Palestinians. I'm so excited for this collaborating gathering right now. Stephen, yeah.
So in terms of this whole question of systems, am I hearing you correctly that you are an organization of Israeli Mizrahi women who, based on an understanding that there is a systemic inequality either within Israeli society or in terms of the West Bank between Israelis and Palestinians. And your need is trying to do something with Palestinians that addresses this. Having said that, is it correct that this is a Israeli Jewish organization that is asking Palestinians to come in, take some sort of planning role and some sort of partnering role? My perception is that you have to think that possibly within that context, there will never really be planning with. You will never step out of the power imbalance. You need to shake up the system in some way to make your organization available in some way to Palestinians who are organizing themselves, that maybe they will seek your help on something, but you go to them. To the power that you can still hold on to and bring is the ability to listen to them, to hear their needs. Start there. I sense something from how you presented this at the beginning, that there's questions as to how far you can go with this in terms of rights-based versus mutual responsibilities and connection-based. I mean, I think you need to look very hard at all of these things. And I don't have a clear idea of who you intend your Palestinian partners to be, to look at that and think about how you can, without giving up the extraordinary gifts and powers within you, step away from that power, to give them some room to do things. And thinking about bringing them into your organization, very difficult.
To bring them to our organization?
To be part of the organization or to plan with the organization. The inequality, to me, it sounds like the inequality is baked in with all of your understandings and all of your intentions.
Mm-hmm. We are not inviting them to our organization. We are looking for partners to create something new.
So I'll just jump in. I think that what Stephen is onto is something that I know I've been seeing more and more in the U.S. in terms of being a white identified person wanting to do joint projects with people of color, that you want to start something new, but it's still, it's in your world, it's in your orbit.
Yeah.
And that is very problematic. I mean, generally we're seeing as NVC trainers, for example, we really wanted to like really shift the base of NVC from, you know, white Europeans who are and including North Americans who are a minority in the world, you know, to reflecting the global reality. And there's still a difference between inviting people into your orbit and going to theirs. You see what I mean? And I think Shefa was onto something in terms of the strategy of actually finding out who is involved in the Palestinian or Arab communities in Jerusalem, who's doing stuff, and can you go there and say, how could we support you, for example? And Stephen's nodding. It's hard to believe we've been together 3 hours. There's only 4 minutes left. I want to say two things. That am I right, Jessica, that everybody can contact each other when you go into the classroom? All the participants, you can find each other. So there's great resources in this room, and so you can stay in touch after that. And I think that Shefa will have the last word. I feel kind of talked out, so I don't need to have the last word.
Let's go to Shefa, and I will wrap up a little bit at the end. Shefa, go ahead.
Okay, and I'll just say that I am teaching on the Academy also in November, and that will be NVC and Buddhism. So if you want to check into that, check it out. Okay, thank you. And thank you, everyone. And Shefa will bring us home. Thank you, Shefa.
I'm just going to just kind of pick this up with, I know that I ended up stepping into something. We have a calling, and I hear that there's a calling here. And when you step into the calling, you're going to make mistakes every day. And the thing I have told myself since I stepped into this in 2005 was, dear God, make me teachable. And so, you know, the other thing is there's a Rabbi Reb Zalman who talked about when you pray, you make a pocket that the angels can fill. You have to make that pocket. And there's another teaching about our imagination. When we offer it, our imagination, the angels come and they help to fine tune this. And so every day when you put something out in your best intention and then you get the feedback, it needs to get readjusted. That's kind of the messages of the angels coming through. And so the other piece that I've learned is to keep working off of models. And I know I've needed successful models in my life to keep learning from. And when Stephen was talking about, you know, the working in that partnership with, in our own, and Roberta talked about the Palestinian woman that's the NVC trainer. Itaf Awad, who Roberta knows, has her input is gold to me. And I call her not only the translator for Arabic, but the cultural translator, because I have no illusion that I know what the hell is going on. I know I don't know what is going on. And so I hang on to the guidance that I get there. And I suspect that when, for what you're talking about, and the woman that Roberta mentioned, I have a hunch she could be great gold because she shares such a common context with you in guiding with it. And finally, we happen to have the mother of our director of development and Middle East programs, Harriet, is on. I didn't even realize she was here until she messaged me. But her daughter, Thea, has been organizing in our organization an educational committee. And really, we've been hearing from key stakeholders from our programs, and just hearing and learning about them. We have a committee of an Israeli, Palestinian, a group, and we've been listening each time and learning more and more. And eventually we will work together as far as our next level of intervention that we're going to be doing. So it's a very cooperative, growing experience that we've had in learning together about the needs, and then figuring out what we can do with our resources that's going to be the right intervention at that time. So it's been a process of us growing together. So those are the practical pieces, because I'm just giving what I would have liked to have heard myself. So I bless you all in your incredible yearning and doing for bringing peace on this planet. And I thank you. I myself am very inspired. And thank you, Roberta, for all that you're doing and holding the light there.
Thank you. And I'm just going to post in the chat as our farewell another the last line from the poem that I began with. And the poem is called A Ritual to Read to Each Other by William Stafford. So I'm just going to read this as our closing. Anyway. For it is important that awake people be awake, or a breaking line may discourage them back to sleep. The signals we give, yes or no or maybe, should be clear. The darkness around us is deep. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. And I love feedback. Please stay connected. And already Amuna and I, Amuna Witt, who was supposed to be part of the second segment, she got the time mixed up, but I spoke to her privately. We're gonna do another, probably NVC and Hasidut, which is what we've been doing together in Jerusalem. So stay tuned for that. And thank you, everyone. We are really making a better world with this practice. So grateful.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much, Roberta.
Bye.
All right. So to be able to access all the future recording, so it's going to appear, like I said, this recording of today is probably going to take about a couple of days, maximum 3, for us to editing it and then putting in the classroom. So in order to do that, so type the nvctraining.com. This is the NVC Academy website. And on here, you need to sign in. So the sign in button is at the top right here. So when you click sign in, you will need to enter your email address and your password. So mine is pre-done, and then click sign in. So here you arrive at what we call your account. And in your account, you can see all your newsletter subscription on your right. But what you're looking for is the active courses and subscriptions. And it's classified by a few different things. If you have the NVC library, if you have registered for some self-paced course, and here are going to be some live courses depending on the year. So I do have a lot because I'm part of the NVC Academy. So for that, I can type in a filter, the one I'm looking for. And then I can click then on the link that would lead me then to the classroom. And here I am. Welcome to your NVC Judaism Torah at the Intersection online classroom. So this is your welcome page. And this is here, you'll be able to see all the Zoom links, the course dates, information from trainer, discussion forum. And this is the discussion forum is a place by clicking on it where you can maybe share if you want some topics, some learning that you want to have. You can go back to the welcome page here by clicking welcome. So what we want to see today is the recording. So click on the recording tab near the welcome tab. And here you will see it's empty right now, but you will see the recordings that you can stream or download, audio and video, that will appear in a few days. So that will be here. And then the handouts are in the next tab. By clicking on the handout, here you will find all the handouts that we've been sharing today. The picture we had today and all of the exercise we've done. And you can click on it. That will open on a new window, and then you can then download if you need to or not. All right, you just need to go back. So that's the handouts. We also have some FAQs for you if you want to know more about like I just said, where are your recordings? How long do you have access in the classroom? Most importantly as well, how are recordings used at NVC Academy? We are sharing all of that in some of the FAQs. And one last thing, and I promise I'll stop here and receive some questions if anyone has some. If you want to keep in touch also with some people, on top of the forum discussion, you can also send a message directly to either Roberta or to other participants in the course. That's been other people who registered for the course. So on your right here, you'll see different blocks, and you see either here a little letter here, send a message to Roberta, or show the participant list. And by clicking on the participant list, you'll see the participants. And if you want to send someone a message, just click on someone's name and then click on message. And then a window will appear on your right here. And then you can write them a message directly. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and so I can see everyone. All right, was that helpful? Do you need more information? And don't hesitate to unmute yourself.